So in your course materials for this course, you will find this Ajax folder. I'm gonna open this in Visual Studio Code, and then I'm gonna open this index.html, and I'm gonna open this with live server. So this is really simple. It only has this load Ajax button. You can see we have the button right here, and also we have this with the ID output. And you will find that we have this data.txt file. We're gonna see how you can load the contents from a text file into your website using Ajax. Then we're gonna open this app.js, and right here I'm gonna create an event listener for this button. You can see it has this ID, so we're gonna add document get element by ID. Then we're gonna pass this button, and we're going to attach an event listener. It's going to be click, and we're gonna call this function load data. Then we're going to write the function load data, and we're gonna open a function. I'm gonna show you how to create an Ajax code with this code when we click in this button. So always when you are working with Ajax, you have to perform 4 different steps. The first one is create the new XML HTTP request object. And it's going to be something like this. You can name this whatever you want. In this case, I'm gonna use a const. And normally you will find all the examples on the internet using this XHR. Then I'm gonna add equals to new XML HTTP request. So this is going to create the object for the XML HTTP request. So that will create the object. Then you open the connection, and you are gonna use this same variable, and then you are gonna use a function called open. From here you can specify the request. In this case we're gonna use get. Then it's going to be the URL. In this case I want to open this file data.txt. And then if you want to make this call asynchronous, you pass the last parameter as true. Then it's going to be the execution of the Ajax call. And here we're going to use XHR again on load, and this is going to be a function. From here we're going to check if this status is equals to 200. That means that this call was successful. So you can add something like this. We're gonna select this output, and I'm going to add document that get element by ID. We're gonna add output, and we're gonna insert the text, the response that we're receiving from this Ajax call. Let me add the rest of the code. This response text, and we're gonna close the H1. So this response text is going to be the response that we get from the server when we execute the URL using the connection. Finally, you need to send a request. Send a request, and it's going to be XHR send. So save this and open your project, and we need to click here, and you can see we have some info from a txt file, and this is going to be the contents from this data.txt file. So if I open this again, you can see that we have this status equals 200. There are several status. For example, and right here, if I console log this status like this, and open the project again, and open inspect, open the console, click here, and you can see we have the status is 200. If we change this file name to something else, save this and click here, and you can see we have 404. Really similar as the code that you will receive. For example, if you open a website and try to navigate into a page that doesn't exist, it will return 404 error. This is something really similar. So for example, there are 3 different codes, and the more commons, 200 is correct, Also 403 is forbidden, and 404 is not found. So right here we are checking that we are in the code 200, which is correct. Then we're gonna return, or we're gonna print the values from the file that we have here. Now this is a method that you can use to make Ajax call. Maybe you found on the internet an example using this code, something similar to this. I'm gonna comment this code that we have here, like this. There is another way of doing Ajax call. Is using the same, but using XHR on ready state change. Maybe you find an example on the internet, but you are not really sure what this means. So this was the older way of doing Ajax calls. So normally you will add something like this: if that this status equals to 200 and this dot ready state equals to 4, then normally you will execute the code like this. So copy this and paste and save this. Click here on load Ajax call, and you can see that we have the same result as we did in the last example. In this case, this is using on ready state change. So for example, if I add something like console.log ready state, and we add a comma, then we add XHR ready state like this, save this, open the project, click here. You can see we have different ready states, 2, 3, and 4. Let me cut this, and maybe we can add the ready state from here. Well, I think it's going to be like this. But for example, you can see we have 2, 3, and 4. There are so meanings for this code. Ready states, I'm going to add the code right here. 0 is going to be equals to unsent, and 1 is going to be opened. And these are the codes that are running. 2 is going to be received. 3 is going to be equals to loading, and 4 is going to be equals to done. So you can see that we're checking the status 200, and you can see 200 is correct. And also we're checking the ready state, which is going to be 4, and 4 is when this call is done. So in the next video, and then in the next videos, we're gonna continue learning about Ajax. In the newest versions of JavaScript, we have something called the fetch API, but I think it's important as a JavaScript developer that you know at least the basics of Ajax. So let's continue working in the next video.